G'day parents. I just wanted to take an opportunity to walk you through a spreadsheet that I'm sharing with you all, and I've already shared it with, well, at the moment, the Year 10 class on Google Classroom. So I'll use this for all of my classes. So you might have a child in one of my senior maths classes or in my Year 10 maths class. Either way, the layout of this particular spreadsheet will look rather similar. So just to explain where I'm coming from, I had developed a bit of a check sheet to use in class. When the students are doing work, I walk around and check off and see where the students are up to, and most of your children would be fairly aware of my little spreadsheet that I walk around with. With us moving now to online for a period, I just wanted to make that a little bit more accessible to you guys. So in order to do that, I've edited things around, and each student in the class has a spreadsheet developed for them that I share with them and I share with their parent or guardian. So I've picked on my poor son here, because I figure that way there'll be no privacy issues. I know his parents are happy with me sharing his information. So as you can see here, he's in Year 10, and these are the units that we will learn during Year 10, starting with the one I've just started with. Rather than going right back to the start, just started with the unit that we're doing as we've gone off into online work. So you can see here that 8 lessons have been taught in that unit. My son has done no theory work for that particular unit. That's addressed below. Normally that should be at the same level as the lessons taught or close behind. With that particular class at that particular time, I wasn't asking them to post their theory work. Just to get used to posting online, I was only asking for them to do their book work. So you can see here Michael's posted 5, and the last work he submitted was on the 9th of April. Now, because the spreadsheet is new, this last work submitted date updates each time your student has submitted work, and then I have checked it off. So probably last work submitted is probably a bit wrong, because most of the time, obviously, if your child submits something at 3 in the afternoon, usually I only check work on Mondays to Fridays, and usually around about sort of 9 in the morning. It's usually the first thing I do of a day is to go through and check what work's been submitted. So if your child has submitted something at lunchtime on Saturday, that may not update until early Monday morning. And then over here we've got a nice little lessons outstanding. So Michael has to submit to me lesson 2, 4 and 8 to be up to date. Other lessons are going to be taught in this particular unit, but they don't show up there until they've actually been taught. So you can see if there's a lesson outstanding here, we have a lesson online. He or she should have followed that lesson and been able to do that. So that then just goes, and we'll go through each of the topics as we go along. So as we go into each of the next lot of topics, that will just keep updating, and you'll be able to see when your child has last submitted work, and you'll be able to see what they've done, what's outstanding, etc., and where they should be up to. That's the lessons taught. Ordinarily, if a student was up to date, if it says 8 in lessons taught, it should say 8 in theory work complete, and it should say 8 in book work complete. There is then further down the page this little white boxes where I put sort of global announcements. Now these are more to reassure yourselves and students about what's expected, and usually there'll be nothing here that's not already told to them somewhere else. The exception being this very first time I put a couple of notes in here. For instance, for this Year 10, lessons 1 and 2 of Unit 17 were taught before school went online. So they haven't really been included. I haven't asked my students to email me work that they did in front of me. So for instance, in this case, Michael, I had actually checked his work in lesson 1. That's why lesson 1's not there. I didn't get around to checking his work during lesson 2. I was helping other students. So I haven't asked him then to email it to me. He did that particular lesson in class. Now, importantly, for this particular class, a little bit different from my senior classes. This class is 7 times a week, so if you're 3 to 4 lessons behind, the lessons will all post on a Monday, and that lessons taught number will go up on Monday. I don't expect all of the students to do all the work on Monday. So being 3 or 4 lessons behind, that's about a week's worth of work, is okay on Monday or Tuesday maybe. But as we're getting towards the end of the week, they should be at least chipping away at some of those. And by the end of the week, ideally, they'd be up to date with the work, certainly by the following Monday. If they're looking to know what exactly they're to do, there's a work expectations tab, which is at the top of Google Classroom. I think for my senior classes, it's got a slightly different name. It might be called Today's Work, but it's all there at the top of Google Classroom in the Classwork tab. Shows them exactly what they should be doing. And in this particular case, I've also said for this particular class, up until lesson 8 of Unit 17, theory notes were not required to be submitted. Now that the students are used to being able to submit their work digitally to me, I'm now going to ask them to do that. I just didn't want to overload them at the start when they were just getting themselves ready. So that's sort of a run through of what's available there. If you lose the link that lets you access the spreadsheet, you can always email me, but the students have the link at the top of the classwork feed in Google Classroom. So you can ask your son or daughter to quickly pull that spreadsheet up from Google Classroom so you can check that from there. So this process doesn't stop me from calling you guys up or emailing, obviously, for me to express my concerns. It's more as a sort of first point of call mechanism where you can see straight away if your student is up to date or not. If the student is behind to an extent that I think you need to be made aware of it, then I will send you an email or ring you up or whatever process is appropriate there. You are, however, welcome to contact me if you're concerned with where your child is travelling in the course, whether they're on top of it or not on top of it. By all means, send me an email and I will get back to you. You can also try calling the school, although the days that I'm on site at the school can vary with the way things are these days. So you're probably more likely to get a quicker response with an email, at least as the first point of contact.